Right, girls listening, please. Nice and short exercise. Exercise 607. We're doing global maxima and minima. I believe last time I introduced you to those terms, but let me recap what it means. I wrote the notes up there. Basically, global maxima is the highest y value within the domain. So for example, if you're given this equation and they want you to find the global maxima and minima value within this given domain, you need to graph this out to find where the highest y value and the lowest value, y value is. So, which comes to the next point. It doesn't say use calculus to sketch. If they want you to find the global maxima minima, you need to sketch it, but it doesn't mean you have to use calculus all the time. Yes, you can use calculus to sketch this, but is calculus necessary to sketch in this equation? What I want you to be able to see is no, it's not, is because you can see from the powers and with the constant at the end, doesn't that resemble a certain type of equation? Yeah, it's similar to quadratic equation. So we don't necessarily need to use calculus because it's like you sketching x squared minus 2x plus 1. I mean, if this was the case, we would obviously factorize it using cross method, and this would actually be that. Similarly, the only difference is it's got the power of 4. So the way you would factorize this using cross method is like this. So instead of x and x, you've now got x squared and minus 1 minus 1. Yeah, that works out. So if you factorize it, or you can use either method. So yeah, if you factorize it, you get these two, which is the same thing as this. All right, so from here, girls, what do we usually need to find to graph it out? We need the y-intercept first. What's the y-intercept from here? 1. And then the x-intercept, since we factorized it, from here, x squared minus 1 equals to 0. So x is equal to plus or minus 1. Okay, so let's just plot that out, see what we can get. So we've got 1, minus 1, and 1. Let's just label the domain later. Girls, if you're given these 3 points and you need to draw a curve, there is only one way to really sketch it out, and it will look like this. Okay, there's really no other way you can sketch it that goes through those 3 points. Okay, if you're not sure with those 3 points and you want a clearer picture, you can use calculus and do exactly what we've been doing, but this is just a shortcut. So from here, now let's label the domain. I'll do it in red. Minus 2, let's say, is here. So that means when you sketch it, you need to get rid of anything beyond that point. And 3, let's just say it's here. So that's your graph within this domain. And as you can see from here, the highest y value possible within that domain would be where x equals to 3. So we need to figure out what that y value is. And similarly, what's the lowest y value from the graph you can see? It's not that. Don't be confused. Yeah, that is the very lowest y value, which is 0. So in conclusion for this question, your global minima is 3, or I'll just write, not 3, sorry, 0. Yeah, the y value is 0. For the maxima, obviously if I want to figure out what the y value is when x equals to 3, just sub it into the original. I'll just quickly do that here. 3 to the power 4. And I'm just going to look at the answers for that because it's just an example. And it is 64. Okay? So that's basically how you find global minima and maxima. You've got to sketch it out and have a look at what the highest y value and the lowest y value is. I just thought I'd go through a few questions where calculus is necessary or unnecessary throughout your exercise. For example, with that one, is calculus necessary? What kind of graph is it if it's an odd power? Cubic graph, and then draw a cubic graph, 3 units down, and just make sure you cut the graph off where x equals minus 2 and 1. Figure it out. I don't think I need to draw it for you. This one I thought I'd touch up on because I think you might have forgotten what square root graphs look like. In order to do that, first of all, what does x equal to here if you make it equal to 0? Yeah? So this square root graph, and because it's a positive square root, it's just that. Yeah, if you remember. Just remember, girls, square root of x is just this. Yep. If I want to be more accurate, the y-intercept is root 5 in this case, because if you substitute x equals 0, that's y equals to root 5. So from here, if they want you to find the global minimum maximum between -4 and 4, so that means, so from here to, let's say that's 4 there. So obviously your global maxima will be your y value when x equals to 4. Minima would be that point, because remember that bit's cut off. Okay, that bit's cut off. You're only looking at the part of the graph within that domain. So that would be your global minimum. So substitute 4 minus 4, which would be 1. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's all it is. There's only what, like 12 questions or something? 10 questions. Okay, that should be enough to get you through the exercise. All right, thanks. Can you